Hello everyone, and welcome back to Fire Emblem Three Houses. And this game was donated by my friend Card, and when people donate a game, I try to follow through with their request to the best of my ability, which is why we have Mrs. here along with us.
Hi everyone.
Also, I was going to take a painkiller before we started, and I forgot, so now I'm going to do that real fast. It's no biggie. At least I've been getting some okay-ish sleep. It's just still like a lot of pain. Oops. Alright, so this is just a random quest. It was level 29, so anybody should be able to handle this with ease. I mean, except for the people that I obviously don't use. I'm gonna regret this one day. Like, these characters are like level 20, and we're gonna get to some level 40 instance where I'm like required to take like Hahnemann or Manuela. I'm just like, welp. Yeah, they're screwed. And
that is why I generally put in some of the time when I have the ability to level some of the lower levels.
Yeah, it's just not... This game isn't really set up in a way to let you level your lower level characters very easily. So, as we have mentioned previously on all of this, excuse me, Yuri and Balthus have some support for when we're done here. I guess I got them up enough, which is good. Okay. Neat. Oh, neat. Sylvain and Ingrid got their A+, so I'll finally see that. So that's neat. In that case, I kind of want Ingrid and Ash to get a bit of support since they can. Whoops. And Ingrid's already high enough level as it is. She doesn't really need to be the one on the battlefield. As far as anybody else, though, I've got a lot of people waiting for Dimitri for their supports, including me. So that's kind of neat.
Just a little bit longer.
Yeah, I assume whenever Didu comes back, that'll help. So,
oh, it helps, but it's not the final thing.
Yeah. I guess it really is kind of like a who's the lowest levels that I want to work on at the moment. Well, I want to just take anybody that's level 32 or 33. Which is pretty much all the DLC characters, except for Balthus, I guess. But I guess I'll take him anyway. Felix. I do have Marianne. I could do more with her and Hahnemann. And now it's all the level 34 characters. Oh, Petra. Petra's level 31. I want to grab her then. In that case, let's drop, I guess, Balthus. Yeah, because he's level 34. Petra needs some AXP. And does Petra need any supports with anybody? Let's work on her and Dorothea, since they've got that last little bit to go. And then it's just a matter of actually seeing who I have and thus organizing people that I think should be on the front lines. I think I have a whopping 2 frontline fighters. Oh well. I mean, this is alright. The way it is, I think. That really is about all I've got, so. Alright. Begin battle. About the enemy. All your units fall in battle. Typical battle scenario. Let's see. Let her handle that. And you can kill the guy the rest of the way. And then Petra can come kill this guy. I probably should have had her kill that guy, because I forgot she's lowest level. Oh well, it'll work out. Scythia can also attack from the farthest out, but actually nobody can even get up here but her. Dark Spikes, Hades, Nosferatu, Seraphim. There's only like 2 attacks she has that can work, and they're her big attacks, so I don't exactly want to go using those right immediately. Attacking from way the heck up there is always nice. Annie can't even get up here. We'll do a little bit of that. Felix. Let's see, Happy up here, Yuri up here. Neither of them can actually get to anybody, but that's alright. That Sword of Zoltan. I have no idea if his new weapon is any easier to repair. Because I was just thinking about it when we were last recording, and I switched to the Sword of Zoltan because I'm like, that one's probably easier to repair, and then I remembered the Sword of Zoltan requires the freaking wood steel. So like it's actually not very easy to repair, like, at all. Oh, frick. I actually figured she'd be alright, because I didn't figure these guys would hit that hard. Alright, well, that's unfortunate. Oh well. We do what we can do. Oh, neat. She actually has the little staff I gave her in her hand there. I have never noticed that before. She's got the little healing wand thing. Get wrecked. These battles are so much easier than the big paralogs, but they kind of make sense. Big paralogs are more story based and difficult.
Indeed.
So. Alright. Not bad. Not bad at all. Nosferatu. Miss. And crit. Good job. That was funny. I don't know if you heard that.
I did not.
Yuri landed the crit there, and Happy goes, "Wow, remind me not to get on your bad side." I was like, "Wow, I love that." That was funny.
Indeed. So I know last time I mentioned that I had started watching the Dragon Ball anime.
Right.
I've gotten up to the Red Ribbon Army arc at this current point in time.
Cool. I can be honest and say that I'm not familiar with the original Dragon Ball itself. I know a lot about Dragon Ball Z as I used to be into it. But when I say I used to be into it, I mean like I watched it throughout the entire like first section, the Frieza saga, I guess it's usually referred to as. But I watched it through all the way through that. I really enjoyed that. And then they got into the second part, the Cell Saga, I think, is what people usually call that. And somewhere around the halfway point in that, I just got tired of the show. Just because, like, it's like, oh, here's this big bad villain, okay. And then now let's take, like, 30 episodes before we actually, like, start fighting said big bad villain. And that's a terrible summary of what I mean. Like, that didn't even come out the way I was envisioning it. But it's like, okay, so to use Frieza Saga as an example, okay, in the Frieza Saga you have Goku fighting against Frieza, and they introduce Frieza about halfway through the season, and like everybody tries to fight him, they all get beaten up, knocked down, defeated, that kind of thing. Not a big deal. But then, like, you get to the point where they actually, like, Goku shows up on Namek and actually starts fighting Frieza. And Frieza, like, he shoots a beam that's supposed to, like, blow up the planet. And he's like, the planet has 5 minutes before it explodes. And then, like, 20 episodes later, they're still fighting.
Okay, I actually know the explanation for that one. They're experiencing relative time.
Yeah.
Because of how fast they're moving.
Yeah, it's... I get that there is, like, an idea on that, and all. And that was just kind of the start of it. That's not usually, like... That's kind of like the first thing I point to because it's like the first thing that started bugging me. But it's not like the ultimate thing, if that makes sense. It like... Sorry, I'm trying to like focus here on this and talk at the same time, which is not the easiest thing to do. So like... I'm trying to think here, because it was... Oh, wow, we did that in, like, 10 minutes. Alright, that's fine. That is not surprising, though. Let's do... Rare enemies, twice the rewards. Level 36, though. Let's do this one. I know I could get more rewards and things, but now I'd have to throw all my high levels in. So like during the Cell Saga, they had, you know, the main villain Cell there. What do we even have going on? I didn't even think to like actually look at what the enemies were last time. It's all brawl and axe. It's only like a couple axe. It's mostly brawl. It's interesting. It's like brawl and then heavy armor axe, and then one random mage and one random like knight over here. Just like couple of random units there that. Funny. Sorry, I'm trying to formulate my thoughts here with this, because
it's fine.
I know that like a lot of one of the big things that I know is that people are gonna like look at me and be like, really, you know, that's like the big issue you had or whatever, and like, I get that I'm probably never going to be able to say something that makes sense for people that really, really enjoyed Dragon Ball, whereas I didn't, fully enjoy. It's not, like I said, it's not that it was bad. It's just that it got to a point where I stopped being able to really enjoy it.
Like, for me, the main reason I am watching Dragon Ball...
I didn't even set up my group. Oh, well.
The main reason that I am watching it is for this D&D game. Because I want to have a solid idea of what my character's in-game knowledge would be, what sort of shenanigans I can probably expect, of course, given this particular play group of mine. Shenanigans will ensue no matter what I prepare for.
Right.
And it's just to be more knowledgeable than I currently am.
Right. I mean, I do understand that, absolutely.
And mainly, one of the big reasons why I've started with the original Dragon Ball, apart from, it being the starting point of everything, is from what my friends have told me, it has the most purely human fighters.
Yeah.
I don't think I can get very many good ideas for my entirely human character from watching aliens go at it.
Right. I do understand that. So. Good job, Ash. Level 36 for Ingrid. Okay. I was going to say level 35 for Ash, but no, that was Ingrid that leveled up. I'm just kind of trying to pull everybody up here together, because they can't... The problem with this battlefield is that nobody can really move anywhere. Because it's all a freaking choke point on this, at this beginning of this map here. So, flyers are definitely some of the better units for this particular battlefield. Get wrecked. But now it was like one of the kind of issues I've had, and I've had it like people explain this to me multiple times and try to like make sense out of it and stuff. In the Frieza saga, Goku sends the spirit bomb down on Frieza. It basically crushes him, explodes, and then he's still perfectly fine. But in the Cell Saga, that's actually the way they defeat Cell, is with the exact same weapon. And again, I know that, like, you know, as people have explained, like, one of the things was that, you know, Namek was basically dead, and so there wasn't, like, life to, like, the Spirit Bomb takes, like, life from stuff around, and that was the big issue with the Spirit Bomb in, oh my god, I can't move anybody, because this freaking heavy armor guy. I need a mage to get up here, but then they're going to end up in close combat with these guys, and that's not going to help either. Like I said, I know that, like, you know, part of the idea is that I'll just have her step up and wait instead of actually attacking. That helped a little, I guess. Wasn't as good as it could have been. Much to learn from battle. I wish you could move back so that I could get somebody else up here to fight, but I guess Happy has enough reach. But it's like they spend so much time in the episodes like fighting, and like there isn't any like plot or anything that happens, that I end up just kind of getting bored eventually, because I feel like there's only so much high-speed supernatural type fighting that you can do that then keeps my interest. A good example of that, even, I was going to actually say that a good series that didn't do that was Ruby, but actually that's also a good example, because after the first 3 seasons, I started watching season 4 and then kind of got out of it. Don't get me wrong, Ruby was, I'm sure still is, like a really good show. I definitely enjoyed it when I was watching it, but again, I was getting into that, like they were doing a lot of that, like, oh, you know, we're doing, like, fights that last, like, the entire episode kind of thing, and it just gets boring just sitting there watching them fight every episode. So it's kind of like how I dislike like, I don't dislike the Pokemon anime, but I have issues with the Pokemon anime because of the fact that, like, every episode they have to find some way to include Team Rocket in. It's like, you had a plot going, it was perfectly fine, like, everything was going good, the story was great, and then just at the last minute, oh, Team Rocket. They're like, they come in for 2 seconds, try to mess something up and fail. It's like, it's pointless to have included them into the story. And it's kind of the same way. It's just like, when it's all just combat and battles, it just kind of gets to that point where it's like, okay, there's nothing going on, and it's like, why do I watch Pokemon when I know that regardless of what conflict they create, it's going to revolve around Team Rocket in the end somehow, you know? Why do I sit here and watch Dragon Ball Z if I can watch the first 5 minutes of the battle that they're doing, and then I can stop watching, and then I can come back 20 episodes later, and, like, freaking the battle hasn't progressed, you know? And I understand that it's a personal thing. I mean, I know a lot of people enjoy the series and whatnot, absolutely. But after all the issues that I had with the Cell Saga, and then, like, they went on to the, Majin Buu or whatever his name was. And that one was like, oh, he's just completely invincible. Like, nothing can hurt him. And then, like, the one episode I saw, like, they're like, oh, Vegeta's like, oh, I know what can hurt this guy. And then he blows himself up. Except that he then comes right back without any injury or anything. And it's just like, okay, that whole storyline was completely pointless. And that's just my issue with it. It seems like a lot of the Dragon Ball. It's like, okay, I can just skip 30 episodes and I'll finally get to an episode that actually has something happening in it, you know? So, but again,
But as you said yourself, personal preference.
yeah, for those people who enjoy that, that's another reason I stopped watching Naruto, was because I watched like the first 30 episodes and nothing happened in them. It's, again, completely personal preference and everything. I understand that people, you know, I should say, I hope that people understand that, you know, we all have our different opinions and preferences and things.
But, you know, speaking on that, you might actually enjoy the original Dragon Ball series. Because it's been moving at a pretty quick pace from what I've seen so far, and I'm on episode 33.
That's good. Yeah, well,
It's not spent like more than 2 episodes on a singular fight.
right. And I don't know, I guess like that's one thing that I did like about, say, Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, you had battles in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where they were multiple episodes. And especially once you start getting into the freaking Battle City tournaments and things, like, that's just all, like, multi-episode battles. But there are 2 or 3 episodes, you know, 5 at the most with freaking Merrick's fight. But, like, they don't linger, you know. They do a fight, you get to enjoy it, and then if they're not doing some kind of major tournament, like the different finals and things in Domino City, or really any of the Battle City arc, to be honest, like, they move at a relatively decent pace, you know, and things like that. It's like, you had Yugi 2 episodes with the freaking Rare Hunter, and then Joey 2 episodes with, what was it, Esper or whatever? That was the second fight. And yeah, there was no, like, real in-between episodes. But, like, the battles themselves only really took about a full episode, because you had stuff before and after the battle on each episode. And so it's like, they can take a commercial break at the end of the battle and still have something to go over when they come back. And then still, like, in the next episode, they've got at least till the first commercial break of stuff before they jump into another battle. It's like, I like it when I like it when things progress, when the story moves through. I had an ex-girlfriend that tried to get me into the Detective Conan series a long time ago. And she basically, like, swears by the show. She's like, it's one of the best shows I've ever out there, and yada yada. super enjoys the manga and all that. And I'm like, okay, so, I start getting into this thing when I realize, well, okay, just when I was watching it, because I know it's changed since, there were 900 chapters to this manga out. And so I kind of, I start reading it and I'm like, oh yeah, this is an interesting series. And then I'm 100 chapters into the manga, and they haven't even touched on the villains once since the first chapter. I'm like, I messaged her. I'm like, is there like a plot here, or is it just Shinichi became a kid and is pretending to be somebody else and stuff? And she's like, oh no, there's a plot in this. And I'm like, so I skipped ahead a bit. I'm like, well, maybe it comes in a little bit later. And I had to skip forward to like chapter like 400 or something. And they finally introduced this other character. And like the whole idea behind Detective Conan is like is it Shinichi? I don't. Yeah, I think it's Shinichi because I'm thinking Shinji from Neon Genesis. Shinichi, like, he got poisoned or something, and the poison didn't work the way they thought it would, and it turned him young for whatever reason. That made no sense to me, just on its own, but I was kind of like, whatever on that. But then, like, they introduced this character, like, 400 chapters in, and she has a cure for the thing. And, like, that's been the whole plot the whole time, is he's looking for a cure. She has a cure, but she just won't give it to him. I'm like, what? She has a cure, but she doesn't give it to him. And it's like, what? Okay, why are you introducing a character that has everything that the main character needs, and then you're just like, but nah. And apparently alcohol, and this is the thing that really confused me. Apparently him drinking alcohol turns him back into his like teenage self, but only for like a short period of time. And I got to this point where I just like, okay, clearly I have to sit down and read it, like the whole thing to understand. But I'm not going to go through 900 chapters to figure out where the story is in this thing. So I asked her, I'm like, could you give me like a list that tells you like, the plot related stuff? And she's like, well, it's all plot related. I'm like, I don't see that being the kid. You can't have 900 chapters and none of it is filler. That's just not possible. Do you have to listen right now? Just stick with writing. And I know somebody's going to jump on me because, like, oh, you just didn't give it a chance and whatever. When I started jumping around when the alcohol turned him back to his normal self. I'm like, okay, I don't understand this, and I had to ask about that. And then I like looked ahead after that because I'm like, because my ex-girlfriend was like, well, they're like things get better later on, so I kind of just skipped ahead to some random spot just to see what was ahead. And I saw that it was like, oh, here's this character that has the antidote, but
hello, Blake.
She just doesn't. I'm like, and she's like a main character, like she's part of Shinji's like group. I'm like, not Shinichi, but I'm just like, I don't understand, Maybe I have to sit down and read the whole thing. But again, and this was years ago, like 10 years ago, when there was 900 chapters out. By now there's over 1,000. I'm going, I barely sat through the like 300 chapters that was freaking Neha Sensei Nagima. And I really enjoyed that. Like, there's no way I'm going to get through 1,000 freaking chapters or more of this Detective Conan, you know? If the story, like, if I'm getting into volume 20 of the manga and the story hasn't progressed, there's a problem, you know? Like, that's just how I feel, you know? And I get it. The guy wanted to... You want to get engaged? That was funny. I had to pick that one just because it was funny. I knew what was going on. I knew what she was saying, but I saw that. I was like, I have to use that one. Alright. But, no, it's like, if I were to ever go back and try to go through, like, the Pokemon anime, I would get a list of all the important events, because you watch Pokemon and it's like, okay, in this episode, Ash catches a Pokemon. Oh, hey, that's cool. 20 episodes later, oh, hey, Ash is finally moving on from the previous, like, thing and going to, like, a gym. Oh, hey, finally there's something going on. 20 episodes later, oh, hey, Ash finally catches a second Pokemon. I'm like, I get it. The whole thing about Pokemon is the, like, filler. Like, people enjoy the world building and stuff, but it grates on my nerves when it's like, oh, this plot is such and such a person wants to do a thing. Her Pokemon has, like, these feelings about it, and they have to learn to, like, work together or whatever. And then they get that storyline, and then they're like, oh, we still have 5 more minutes to this episode. What are we going to do? Oh, I know, Team Rocket. It's like, you can't figure out some other means of telling the story without every episode Team Rocket comes in and tries to steal Pikachu. Or like Ash's Pikachu getting stolen, and it's like, Ash's Pikachu gets stolen by Team Rocket. Ash can't do anything about this. Only the new character that we're trying to build up the personality of, only they're the one that can help Ash. And I'm going, why doesn't Ash just throw out Charizard? Well, who can just boom, like he does every time? Or, you know, the newer episodes, freaking, he's got Mr. Mime or whatever. I'm like, there's no reason for Ash to just stare and be like, oh no, Pikachu just got kidnapped. I can't do anything. I'm just like, I can't stand that kind of writing. I really can't. So, and a lot of that kind of writing is what I was seeing in, you know, to bring it all the way back around, I was seeing a lot of that once they got into, like, the Cell Saga with, like, Dragon Ball Z. Again, I don't know anything about the original Dragon Ball. Legitimately nothing. I know, the only thing is I know are Goku and Krillin are kids in that version. You know, so the original Dragon Ball, I can't say anything about. But Dragon Ball Z, I know a lot. And the writing just got to the point where I'm just like, where is the plot? Where is it trying to go? Why do we need 100 episodes of them fighting Majin Buu? You know, it's like the Dragon Ball Z is split into arcs of the villains that they fight because that's the only plot. So, it's like 20 episodes to build up to... Constance's birthday. It's like 20 episodes to build up to the villain showing up. And then
I think you really might enjoy the original Dragon Ball because, again, I'm in the 30s for my episode, and about the third arc, I think.
right.
While it is still divided by the enemies they're facing,
Right.
again, I'm in the 30s for the episodes, and I'm on the third arc.
Right, yeah. And see, it's not a problem that it's split up by the villains that they're facing. It's that there's 150 episodes per villain because they do 20 episodes and then the rest of it is them fighting the villains. Like, how long can you go in a battle? Like, seriously. You know? Constance. Well, why are we having this, like, if I know, like, Constance's issue, why are we having this tea out in broad daylight? Why not take her underground somewhere? That's not a complaint. That's me, like, trying to make a joke after complaining for the last, like, 15 minutes. But, I don't know. I just feel like it's lazy story writing, if that makes any sense. Potential trading partners. Hopes for your future? Yeah, there we go. That one did sound better afterwards, anyway. Dude, oh, of course, because she's morbid, so she'd hate me saying, you're doing good. No, I failed. Every bit of that. You don't have much to say to each other. That's not a surprise. I don't even care that I failed that, honestly. It's really not a big deal to me. Ah, well, it's whatever. Still got some support.
Yeah, I've just looked up the sagas for the original Dragon Ball series.
Oof.
And the longest one is the last one at 31 episodes.
31 episodes, oh god. That's considerably shorter? I really should actually look up the Dragon Ball Z arcs and see just how long they actually are. I am going entirely off of memory, but...
I mean, I can tell you right now. The list I pulled up also has them.
Okay.
So the first arc is 6 episodes long.
Okay.
The second one is 29. The third is 32. The fourth is 7.
7.
The fifth is 33.
Right. It must not be going just off of the villains then, because... Like, 7... There's no way that one of the villains was 7 episodes. So, I'd have to look at the list of the arcs to see... it's not that, I'm not saying, like, I don't trust whatever, but it's...
Yeah, because the arcs are, like, there's, like, the Frieza group.
Okay.
Which goes into the Namek saga, the Captain Ginyu saga, and then the Frieza saga.
Okay, yeah, see, like, all of that is just one arc in... Like that, as far as I'm aware, that's what people refer to
it is
as
separate
that.
arcs. It is separate arcs.
Interesting. Well, let's go ahead and end this episode off here. We have a few supports that we can pick up in the next episode. Hopefully not so many that they take up an entire episode, but it doesn't look like it. There's probably, I've got like one of each of the DLC characters and like one of Felix. It's not like Felix has like 15 and Ash has 10 and like the last freaking time. But anyway, I do hope you guys have enjoyed. Feel free to subscribe if you have. Check the video description down below for a link to the playlist. That way you can get caught up on any of the episodes that you might have missed. Oh, see, I'm missing Albinian exam passes. That's what I need to get her. Because she's probably close enough that she'll succeed on that. I just gotta actually get her there. So, but anyway, subscribe, video description, link in the thing, all that jazz. And with that, we will see you guys next time.
Have a good day, everyone.
See you later.